It's about time. It's about time you saw the sunflowers in my garden. Welcome once again. Welcome. So as you see, the ground is super dry, and I always make some compost from my kitchen waste. So what I'm sifting right now is the compost. But because I'm gardening with limited amount of water, my ground is almost always dry. My compost is dry. So I have to sift it. So the remains, I will take it back to the compost. But I got some nice food for my sunflowers. See that? Next, I'm adding some mature manure. It's not fresh, doesn't have any smell. And then my secret ingredient is ash. Plenty of ash. Ash has so many benefits, as you will see. One is to just adjust the pH so that the sunflowers can grow strong. I'm also gardening using salty water. So salty water tends to lock the nutrients. So adding the ash at least ensures my plants can take up the necessary nutrients. So that is a new seedling, a start. And check my seedling container, it is big. So I can leave the seedlings for long. They are hardened, and so that they can survive the harsh conditions, the hot sun and the limited amount of water I have to grow the plants. So that is the trick. Use a big seedling container and leave the seedlings for longer before you transfer them to a different position where it is sunny. Sunflowers love the sun. Wow, look at that. So now you see the progress over the weeks. They're becoming stronger. By the way, I did not have lots of mulch. As you can see, my ground is still bare. But the little mulch I get, I add to the sunflowers, and also the little water to ensure that they can be strong. And this, what I'm showing you, is just one patch. So now let's see what we get after ensuring the sunflower gets everything it needs. Wow. So this is more than 70 days in, and look at that. There are some small ones that have some tiny heads. But we have the big sunflowers. Look at the size of the leaves. I mean, look at that. So the head is just about to open up. So I was monitoring them during my night garden and just enjoying seeing the yellow as it appears different parts. I also created some time just to loosen the soil. Loosening the soil is important because the microorganisms can get a good supply of air. You know that if you have healthy microorganisms, your plants can take up the nutrients they need. You also make it easier for the plant roots to get water, because the water will seep in easily if the ground is not compacted. You've seen the other beds just around the garden, it is dry. So I always have to come and loosen the soil just to keep it nice and neat. If I had more mulch, I would do more mulch, but I'm growing more cover crops. Remember, my garden is still under transformation. I hope you watched the previous episode when I was showing you the work I'm doing in my garden. So also I want you to take note of the leaves. Do you see that white stuff on the leaves and on the stem? I'm using ash just to control powdery mildew, because I noticed the lower leaves have some powdery mildew. So when you just spread ash on it, you like stop the spread. You use ash as a fungicide, so you stop the spread to other plants because you have covered the pores as you cover the surface of the leaves and the stem. So what you will do, you will just water your plant, water the leaves and the stem, and come and just spread ash on them, and that will cover the leaves well, and you will see that the upper leaves are not covered by any ash because they are healthy and nice, only the lower leaves. We had some very heavy rains when these plants were still small. The floods were all over the country, but at least most of my plants survived the heavy rains. But now we are back to the dry weather. That is why you see my ground is hard and dry. So if you wonder why is it that I don't mulch, it's because it's not that easy to get that mulch. So just loosening the soil all around my crops also provides a good environment. It like cools the ground, because now if the heat is just on the surface and it is compacted, when you loosen it, there are some particles that are on top of the other particles, so there's like you create a cooler environment under there where the roots are more comfortable and the microorganisms. Yay! Time for sunflowers in the garden. Look at that, look at that. This is a different patch. This is like the third block in my garden. So I had plenty of sunflowers there. Now the bees have come, the bees have come, the bees have arrived. Pollinator garden. Wow, look at that, look at that. So the heads are still forming, and you notice the bee is just loves the edge where there is plenty of pollen. And look at the the hind legs. You'll see it is heavy with pollen as they just go around the plants, and my garden is now beautiful. Now this head is much more fuller than the other head. Look at that. See, now the bee is moving just around the plant, enjoying itself. I mean, would I have lots of pollinators if I don't have the bees in my garden? And look at the strong stem of my plants. I mean, some heads are getting heavy, but the stems are strong. Look at that. So this is a full head now. That's a full head. Look at the leaves. Look at how strong the stem is. The healthy leaves. Wow. I mean, you just get outside and you want to smile. Looking at the sunflowers immediately lifts your mood. So some are still forming, but it is all good, beautiful, beautiful in the garden. I'm really looking forward to getting full heads and full of sunflower seeds. And by the way, I'm timing the birds. I've been seeing the birds around, as you've heard the background nature sounds. So they're just timing the sunflowers as I'm also timing the sunflowers. Look at that. That's a full head. It's getting heavier, so I will see what kind of support I need to use. But generally the stem is strong and thick. And you know what? Once I harvest the sunflowers, these strong, thick stems, I'm going to use them as support in my garden. Yeah, look at that. You see? It's about to open, but look at that stem. Thick. For the other plants that need to climb, like you could grow some cucumbers, you could use them. You could use the stems for support. You see that? So it is a win-win. And look at that height. Oh my! Wow! Like, keep it here. Stay tuned because we want to harvest sunflowers. I wouldn't miss the harvest video. Look at that! Yay! Multi-headed sunflowers for you. Keep it here. Love you all.